to the Horror Hangout podcast, where two bearded film fans watch the best and the worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condo over Kate. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
It's Mr. Ben Errington.
And the Devil You. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a podcast, but it's been a long time since it's just been me and you, right?
I can't even remember the last time it was just me and you.
Nor can I. The OGs are back in the house. Back in his house.
Do you think we've changed over the years?
Every now and again, I look at the video of the very first podcast episode, because usually when I'm adding things to a playlist, it like auto plays on YouTube.
Yeah.
The first thing I noticed is how short the episode is. It's like under an hour. I think that was before we'd added
more words to the
more words to the podcast. Yeah. And when we used to just speak about the film, we'd literally do the intro and then go, right, so what did you think of this film?
Now it takes an hour to get to that point.
Yeah. It just felt very strange. I think we've changed.
I think my head's got smaller over the years.
Smaller?
Well, yeah, I think the swelling's gone down finally.
I think, like, if you look back at all the videos, even though the tagline is like two bearded film fans, our beards are always at different stages of, and at the moment they're quite similar, even.
Yeah, well, normally if I grow mine out, yours goes in, and vice versa.
It's like what's that? Like mittens, like mittens at either side of your little coat, mittens on a string.
Yeah,
basically, it's like that. I miss mittens on a string. Something I feel like I need.
I don't think they do mittens anymore.
What?
When was the last time you saw a pair of mittens? They just don't do them.
On a kid,
on
a child, surely, but there's like a age limit now. If you're 8 years old wearing mittens, you're just.
Well, you got to have full functionality of your fingers. How else are you gonna? I don't know. What do you need fingers for?
The penguin. What does he wear mittens? He must do.
Leather mittens, yeah. I mean, to add to the penguin feather look.
Feather and leather.
Wing look, yeah. But I mean, what do we use fingers for? I can't even think. How often do you need to spread your fingers out?
Poking.
Yeah, but you can point with
high five.
With a club.
Waving.
You can do all this with your fingers, just one big finger.
So what you're saying is fingers are pointless. You just need one big like flipper. Everyone needs flippers. This is
typing on keys. That's it. That's the only. If it wasn't for typing,
maybe it'll come apart when you need to, and then you can type, and then they'll go back together for the rest of the stuff. I can think of some other things, but let's not go into it.
Yeah.
So Andy's not with us this week. He's on his holidays, right? He's gone away.
I believe so. Yeah,
that's rude, isn't it? That's rude.
I was off last week, so
what I usually say is book your holidays around the podcast. I know we do a weekly podcast, which means you can't go away for a week, but just come on, let's have a few days here and there. Don't get greedy with it.
With your holiday.
Horror films need to be discussed. So officially now.
Hang on, just move your head a little bit. Yeah, I know. There, stop. A little bit to the left. Every now and again, to the right. Sorry, to the right. Wait, no, to the left. Yeah, every now and again, it looks like I can see John Boyega's crotch. What's going on there? Do you know? What I mean?
It's the logo of my chair pillow.
Oh, it just seems to go right on the crotch.
It's right on the crotch area, and obviously this will only work if you're watching the video on YouTube. But it is right on the crotch area, and there's like a fold. It looks like a skin fold.
It's strange.
That officially means now. I was thinking about this the other day, Luke.
Yeah,
I'm the only constant in Horror Hangout. I'm the only person who's been
you've never had a day
every
off.
Episode. Never had a day off, Luke. Now that probably speaks volumes for my life and the fact that I'm always available. But I think
consistent.
I think there were times where obviously we would just have weeks off if someone was busy when it was just the two of us. But now with all the planning ahead and the fact that Andy is a regular host as well, we can move things around.
It's true.
That's teamwork. That's teamwork. All very different pieces of the same machine, the same podcasting machine, cogs of the same machine.
Beg your pardon.
Cogs,
Go-
cogs of the. I'm just saying cogs now. Yeah. So, right, what have we got?
What's in the
Horror
news?
What is in the news? Well, we've had some trailers this week.
Oh, yeah.
Only one of which I've seen, but I will talk about the other two as well. But the big trailer we had this week is the Halloween Kills trailer. We already had a trailer of sorts, didn't we? But this one, I guess, has got a lot more.
This one,
story
I got
beats.
halfway through. I was like, I need to start watching because
Yeah,
I feel like I'm seeing it like all of the film here.
there are. Now, if you're not a fan of trailers, this trailer shows a lot of kills, which I think is kind of like not fair, really. Like you should, the kills are the things that you want to see. If you see them all in the trailer, then what's the bloody point? But yeah, so it seems like they're leaning heavily into the supernatural element of Michael Myers again, because they're kind of having conversations where they're like, the more he kills, the stronger he gets, and all that stuff. But yeah, we see loads of the kills. It looks super, super violent. It seems to take place immediately after the end of the Halloween 2018 reboot. And if you like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, there are some interesting little Easter eggs in there. I don't know if you saw that, if you switched off halfway through.
I did switch off at that point in the trailer, but I saw someone post a picture of it of a mask.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is nice, obviously, because it seems like that film, even though it's quite well renowned as one of the favorites in the franchise, doesn't get a lot of love from the actual franchise itself, does it? Seems like just swept under the rug.
That is a weird film, Halloween 3.
It's a very weird film, yeah, but still fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is out in October 2021. Obviously, pretty much a whole year later than it was originally billed. Just while it's popped into my head, there's a new Candyman trailer too as well. Did we discuss that last week? You weren't here. You wouldn't know.
I'm trying to remember if you did. I don't think you did.
So. Yeah. Well, that's a good trailer to watch because there's a lot of cool stuff, and I don't think it gives away too much, especially stuff to do with the main character, who I kind of feel like I know where that's going to go with him, but it doesn't kind of reveal anything. So Halloween Kills shows too much. Candyman probably shows just enough.
There's another trailer that I only watched a bit of again, but Don't Breathe 2. Don't Breathe the Hype is what they should have called it.
Don't breath, mate. Don't breathe too hard. Don't breathe too much.
You better breathe it.
Wait, you've prepared these before, surely.
It's unbelievable.
Well, that's good. I watched this film on a plane, and I felt, I think it was supposed to calm me down, and it definitely didn't. But I didn't see this trailer. Did you see it?
No. Well, I saw like the first little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it anyway. But interestingly, they're making the main blind guy, the main blind chap in it, the main character, like he's the hero of the story, which is an interesting way to take it. And I guess we're going to talk a little bit about that in this film, Attack the Block, because he is an outright villain. He in the first one, spoiler warning, he kills a few people, kids, and he also has a person tied up in his basement who he's sexually assaulted, and he's about to sexually assault some. I don't think he does actually do it, doesn't he?
Oh, so in this film they're going, remember this guy? Remember the guy you loved? No, I didn't love him. I loved the other people. Well, he's back, and this time he's even more crazy. Yeah, with his famous tagline, his famous quotes, his famous blindness.
Did you see that? He's always saying stuff like that.
He's such a crazy guy. Is he like Daredevil? Has he got like sonar going on? Evil sonar?
Evil sonar. Yeah, he's got the evil sonar. He just says evil things, and he can tell where he's going from.
Where are you?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to getting it was Fede Alvarez, wasn't it, who made that one? Is he doing this one?
He's produced this one, and I think he did some of the writing for it.
Okay, interesting. I'll probably watch that trailer just because I need a bit of a refresher as to what kind of movie that was, because I don't remember. Watched it on a tiny screen, watched it on a Nintendo DS screen.
Those plain
So,
screens. Yeah.
yeah.
What they need to upgrade those screens. I mean, for one, like surely they could do something to stop the sun glaring. Because like we have to like angle your head right to the
Yeah.
side onto someone else's dinner, just so you can see the screen.
They're upgrading like chairs and like interiors of planes. Get the screens. That's the first thing you need to think
That's
about.
the first thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd quite happily sit in a shit chair, but enjoy a massive screen and some lovely headphones, not those little,
We have to tune
little
into the right radio station.
yeah, those little untanglement. I do like in planes though. I do like watching the thing where it tells you like how far into your flight you are, like whereabouts
Yeah, that's
you are.
cool. And you can look over the side and go, like you try and spot the island. What
Yeah.
you passing over, you can't see anything. Just
Yeah.
blue and
There it is. That's the best bit. Oh no, there's nothing there.
yeah.
Yeah. So another trailer.
Bloody hell.
Trailer number 3. I watched a bit of this one, but again, I stopped myself just because I thought, gonna see too much. But there is a movie coming out on Netflix, an original Netflix feature about a vampire mother who protects her child at 30,000 feet in a movie called Blood Red Sky. Don't know if you saw this. So the brief synopsis: Nadja and her 10-year-old son are on an overnight flight from Germany to New York when a group of terrorists violently take control of the plane and threaten the lives of the passengers. Suddenly, Nadja has an impossible choice. Should she reveal her dark side and the inner monster she's kept hidden from her son for years in order to save him? She's got a real bad temper, I think.
It looks cool. I like the idea. I didn't see the trailer for this one. I just saw a single image and I was like, that's enough of a trailer for me.
Was it like a scary image?
No.
Bloody. It wasn't. It was just a plane.
I suppose it was the words that accompanied the image that really sold me on it.
The poster looks a little bit naff, though. I've just seen it.
I hadn't seen that.
There's like,
you're really disappointed.
oh God,
no,
Jesus Christ!
I can't watch this now.
The thing is, like, the movie looks good. As soon as that trailer just makes it look really cheap. So, sorry, the poster. I will just avoid that. Don't look at it again. Yeah. So that's interesting. Look, there's I'll tell you what. There's loads of stuff coming out in July. This new and fresh to watch, especially like horror bits and bobs as well. Obviously, there's the Fear Street trilogy coming onto Netflix. One movie every week for like the first 3 weeks of July, and Blood Red Sky is one of them. Werewolves Within, the comedy horror, is coming out as well on demand.
Made by Josh Rubin, the guy who did Scare Me.
Yeah.
So I'm quite excited about that. And it's a video game adaptation. I didn't realize that.
Oh.
There's some kind of VR game called Werewolves Within. So it's a weird game to have to adapt it to get the adaptation treatment. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm quite excited about it.
I've still not seen Scare Me. That's one I probably need.
I think it's a Halloween. It's an October film. That's like the prime when you're in that kind of mindset with your pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah. And also this month, the Escape Room sequel is coming out, and also the M. Night Shyamalan new movie Old.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if we're calling it a horror film because it's being billed as a mystery thriller, but I guess it's got horror elements, and it's M. Night as well. So surely he's just associated with horror.
Yeah. I wonder what the M stands for. Michael.
I don't know. Don't hit me with that. Now Marty. I want to know. What's it?
Mandrew.
Is it Mandrew?
Mandrew Night Shyamalan.
Is it actually Mandrew, or are you joking?
No, I'm just making bullshit up.
Oh, what you got to do that for? Oh, Manoj.
Manoj.
And that's not me making up bullshit. That's legit. I've just seen it here in black and white in front of me.
There was like this cat. He says to this big Korean pop star called G Dragon. He's like a really sexy, young, dancing kind of guy. And I was like, I bet that G stands for like Jeff or Gary.
Famous Korean name. Are you Jeff or Gary? Well, don't ask me that.
Gary Dragon.
Garibaldi. Gary Dragon.
My dad's bald and his name's Gary. And yet he's not a biscuit. Interesting.
Very choice. Very, very, very suspicious. I'd ask him next time just to make sure he isn't a biscuit. I'd dip him in some tea, see what happens.
I've already tried.
What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't talk about that day. Don't. That's the day you ruined Christmas. Scalding hot tea. Okay, and the last bit of horror news is that the Exorcist movie, whatever it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a sequel, reboot, or what. Jason Blum has confirmed that Blumhouse will produce the new movie, so it's going to be a Blumhouse bad boy.
Be surprised if the movie isn't being produced by Jason Blum at this point.
He's like, "What's this?
Has
this been produced?" Go on.
There's some more news. Silent Hill, a new video game. It's being made by Boober or Jason Boober. Boober Entertainment, something like that. I don't know. Bloober. Right. They're the guys. They're the guys who did Medium, and what was that other one that a Blair Witch game? They did the Blair Witch game.
Yeah,
I think I don't know if this has been officially announced actually, but the news on the grapevine. The news on the grapevine is that they're going to be doing a Silent Hill game.
Interesting. That's good or bad. A lot of words here. Konami and Bloober have signed a strategic cooperation agreement that will see them build games together. Okay. They say Bloober, but then later on in the story, they're calling it Blobber. And apparently there's someone is the CEO of the Blueberry team. Oh God, turn it in. Just decide, there's a different spelling again. Right. Close that window down. That's going to give me nightmares. Yeah, that's exciting. Definitely would like to see some new Silent Hill. Keen to play through all the games again. I think I'm going to start with Silent Hill 4, which is a good place to start. Start with number 4. So yeah, that'd be cool. So with the Exorcist thing, Jason Blum said, Blum, it's going to be like David's Halloween. So he's obviously talking about the director, David. So I think David Gordon Green's in talks to direct as well, who directed the last Halloween movie.
Okay.
I think he says, I think it's going to pleasantly surprise a lot of skeptics out there. David's going to turn it around for The Exorcist. Yeah. Well, it would be interesting as long as it's not like a straight up remake, because I know the word remake has been attached to it. Some sort of reboot where it's a completely different story with a different person getting possessed. Because the TV show was a bit naff. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, it was a bit naff. I mean, there was a particular twist in it, which I think was done pretty well. But one of the main characters was played by Gina Davis, and it just looked like she'd forgotten she was acting at all times, daydreaming out the window. And they were like, "Yeah, that's a good take. Let's keep that." Brilliant.
Be a creative choice. I don't know. I didn't see it.
No, it's pretty naff. That's it for news. Have you seen anything of note?
Yeah, I've seen a few things. So I finished watching the Sweet Tooth adaptation on Netflix. I thought it was okay. I actually think it's quite nice. It's a very decent adaptation. It's very different, way more family friendly. So like a YA sort of thing.
YA,
it was still pretty cool, and there was a really YA, and there was a really lovely cover of Auld Lang Syne at the end on the last episode.
Interesting.
Very nice, yeah. What else did I watch? In the Hawk and Cleaver Facebook group, we watched Insidious, which was the first time I've seen it for a long time. The last time I watched it was on a tiny laptop that I got as a student. You get these cheap remade laptops. It's like 100
Nintendo
quid.
DS screen.
Exactly, yeah. We watched it, and Kat got really scared that there's a famous bit where the red-headed face guy appears in the middle of the day, and she threw the laptop across the screen, across the room. Yeah.
I mean, that's no way to react to anything, is it? Right, be careful. Be careful with this laptop. It's really
yeah. But I think it's, although it has aged a little, and it also, the budget, I did not realize how, I've not looked into the actual numbers, but it looks very cheap. And I say this as a compliment anyway. It looks like they didn't have much money, but they've made something genuinely really quite creepy and scary in places. It does have a lot of the jump scare stuff, and a lot of he obviously refined his technique for the Conjuring stuff, which went to be massive. But I think there's a lot to like about this one. The stuff where Patrick Wilson goes into the further, he sort of goes into a kind of dream world, into the astral plane, and there's like people, like a complete ghosts that are completely still, and then they'll suddenly like move really jerkily and stuff. some of that is really creepily done. Yeah, it's quite fun. And then also I watched. There's that Lost George Romero film that's popped up on Shudder.
Oh yeah, of course.
The amusement park. Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm assuming so you did.
yeah, it's quite short. It's like 53 minutes or something like that. And it's not what I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a funhouse horror kind of slasher sort of thing for some reason. I guess I don't know. I had the wrong expectations going in.
Yeah.
Maybe because on Shudder, like I felt like it was going to be a horror film, but it wasn't really. It was a PSA film he made for the struggles of aging. If you're of ageism, old people get a bad experience of life, or they get treated badly. It's a PSA film, and it's like an old man, but it's all like an allegory for life. Like it's an old man who kind of goes through, like for example, they're in the Dodgems, and they crash, which is supposed to be on the Dodgems, but then the police turn up. They're all blaming the old people because they don't know how to drive properly. And it's like it's Dodgems, and then this guy gets it gets quite surreal in places. But
so what
it's
year?
not what
What
I
year was it
expected.
made?
I don't know. I don't know. It feels. I'm gonna say after Night of the Living Dead, around the time of the Crazies, I would say.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Okay. I see what you mean. So how did it get discovered? 1972. How did it get discovered?
I don't really know. I just click play on it.
Okay. Sorry for all the questions.
I think it was locked away. Oh, okay. So he made it as a PSA film for this organization, whoever they are. The government, the collected people for old people, and they didn't like what he'd done because he'd essentially made a kind of semi-art house surreal nightmare film.
Yeah. They've gone, well, that's what you get when you hire George Romero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's got some good moments, but it's a little janky in places. If go in with the right expectations, I would say.
Janky and wanky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to Insidious, how many Insidious movies are there? Because it's always one of those things that I always think, there's only one Insidious movie, but no, there are like 4, aren't there?
4. I think there's 4.
Yeah.
Insidious. That's how it's actually
Insidious. Yeah, bloody hell. Anything else at all?
Just I watched Pieces, obviously, which I enjoyed listening to your review. Yeah.
What would you have given Pieces as a?
I actually wrote it down. What was I going to give it?
How did you feel about the kung fu scene?
It was amazing. Yeah. It was the best part of it.
Pretty much amazing.
Maybe I didn't write the notes down. Unless I've written over them. I would give it, I don't know. It's like a solid B-. Like it's fun. It's a great slasher. It's so goofy. But it's not Sleepaway Camp. I think it's like Sleepaway Camp just nails it for me. It's my favorite slasher of that kind.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's still fun. I definitely have fun with it.
Yeah.
What have I seen this week? I've seen a couple of things this week. So for the first time, I saw Night of the Comet.
Oh yeah.
The 1984 sort of a post-apocalyptic horror comedy, kind of comedy. Not really, I guess not. This is like probably the most 80s film you could ever hope to watch because of the hair and the fashion and the music. The needle drops on this film are unbelievable. And it's kind of like got this like neon wash to it and the interiors, and then there's this like burnt orange hue for the exteriors, which is quite nice. I mean, I can see why this film's got such a cult following. I think it's a good concept. The characters are good. I just kind of felt probably about 2/3 of the way in, I felt like the whole story kind of lost its way, and there were lots of like, just I wasn't entirely sure what characters were doing or what was their end goal, and then I felt like I'd missed something. I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? So by the time the finale rolled around, I was a bit like checked out. But
Yeah.
still, I can understand why it's popular. I went to the cinema to see Cruella because my daughter was keen to watch it, and she hadn't been back to the cinema since they'd all reopened. And I kind of had pretty much little to no interest in this, just because of any of the live action or the prequel things, or another prequel of an origin for a villain is a bit like, oh really? Because Cruella de Vil's pretty damn horrible. Like, am I supposed to be on her side for this film? But as soon
The
as this
don't breathe
film's,
situation again.
it's a don't breathe situation. Yeah, exactly. Because notoriously, Cruella de Vil had kidnapped a woman and kept her in the basement and
Inseminated her with
but
puppies.
but this was amazing. Like, everything about it, I loved. I loved the sort of
Really?
the 1970s London aesthetic, like the punk rock, the music, the costumes, and Emma Stone is amazing. In a
It
way,
is amazing.
in a way, you've got to kind of like forget that it's about Cruella de Vil, because when you're trying to piece that together in your head, you're like, well, there's no correlation. There are a few good bits, like when she starts driving, and you're like, oh yeah, she's Cruella de Vil. God, silly old me. And it's got a lot of like British comedy actors in it as well. Like, people you're like, hang on a minute, I recognize that person.
Yeah.
So I had like Jamie Demetrio from
But you're gonna say
Stathlet's
that
Flats.
because every time he shows up in something big, it's like it's a conversation point.
Oh my god,
Jamie Dimitri was in.
he was like a
It's like one of the funniest people on the planet. I think.
he's outstanding. So I needed a pee, and I quickly went out. And as I was coming back in, my girlfriend Charlie was like pointing at the screen like that, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I know a film's on. What's wrong with you?" And I turned around and it was Staff, and I was like, "No way!" Literally stood there for a couple of seconds. But he's like a department store manager, and he's not in it a lot, but yeah, there's a lot of like British comedy actors. And I don't know. I just felt that the attention to detail that went alongside it was just amazing. And like, sure, the plot is a bit like, when it drops in bits which are obviously just lip service, and bits that are kind of a bit too obvious, I'm a bit like, oh fine. It was really long. It was like 2 hours 15 minutes, and not at one point did I think, god, this is going on a bit. So I think
That's
that
good.
kind of shows how good it was. I think probably about 50% of it was Emma Stone, just because she just was great. I've always enjoyed her in anything she's in, and in this she was just
in
captivating.
the start of La La Land, she's like doing an audition for something, and she's like bursting into tears, and it's like an amazing performance. And the casting director's like, "Yeah, sorry, you're not next," or whatever they say. I'm like that. Just that like 2 minute snippet. That's like some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
great.
she's really
I
good.
love La La Land. And the only other thing I watched was, because it popped up on Netflix, and I thought, wow, it's been a few years since I've seen this. I watched a Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah,
which
I like that documentary.
Is, you seen it? Did you say?
Well, a long time ago now.
Yeah, it
20
used to be
years ago, maybe.
Oh god, it used to be something I used to watch a lot, just because it's like, it felt like a bit of a rite of passage for a fan of heavy music, but also like it's so entertaining because it's just it's like Spinal Tap, and it's like so ridiculous and over the top and hilarious without intending to be. But then I think it gets itself to a point in the end where you're like, oh, even the biggest band in the world have got like infighting and ego problems and just so many ridiculous things. But I think it perfectly captures, and it's like the best time because it was off the back of their worst album. You know what I mean? So it's not like there was like a happy ending where they released a Grammy award winning
even
classic album.
There is that snare drum noise, that kang noise. I like a lot of the songs on that album. Yeah. I like a lot of the riffs and stuff.
There's a couple of songs I go back to, but some of the lyrics,
I haven't been back to it for a long time, to be fair.
Some of the lyrics, and some of the lyrics that they write in this documentary, they all they write a lyric and they all look around each other like, that is great, and you're like, no, it's not. That's just awful. There's just a few, like, my lifestyle determines my death style. When somebody says that, they go, that is great, and they write it on a whiteboard. Like, there's just some real bad. But off the back of it, they hired their bass player and went on to, I think, Death Magnetic, the album after that, even though it was a few years later, one of their best. So I think it's just like one of the best and most revealing rock documentaries there is, because I guess a lot of these documentaries are made with the intention of celebrating the artist, whereas this that isn't afraid to kind of like point the finger at these middle-aged men and say, what are you playing at? What are you playing at? I think my favorite moment, and I've kind of always mentioned this, is when Lars Ulrich gets his dad into the studio to listen to the songs, and one of the songs is like this sort of weird meandering instrumental with like some wailing vocals in it, and Lars clearly loves it. Lars is like nodding like that, and when it finishes, his dad says, I don't really know what else to say apart from, you should probably just delete it. And then Lars is like, really? Our manager said we should open the album with that. He's like, I don't agree with that in any way. I think you should probably just delete it. And it's not on St. Angus, so they obviously listened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is that, apart from this week's film.
Attack the Block.
Attack the Block. Attack the Block is a 2011 British science fiction comedy horror film written and directed by Joe Cornish, starring John Boyega, Jodie Whittaker, and Nick Frost. It was the film debut of Cornish and John Boyega's film debut. And recently, I think a sequel has been announced, or the plans to make a sequel.
Yeah. So ratings, IMDb has it at 6.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics have it at 90, whereas the user score is 75. Letterboxd has it at 3.6. Some choice Letterboxd reviews here. It's quite a divisive film, it seems, which I found quite surprising. So Shocked wrote, way better than I expected. One of the best British films of all time. Wow. Right up there. Best British film of all time.
He's
better than I don't know what's a big British one.
Billy Elliot, Train Spotting.
Yeah.
The King's Speech.
Better than the King's Speech.
28 Days Later.
Wow.
I don't know.
Really, you got a list. You can prep for that. So exactly. Yeah, boy wrote, fuck these little punks. They group mug a lone woman in the first minutes, and I'm supposed to root for them. Fucking devour them, aliens. Yeah. Half a star. And I guess that's maybe like the main point of contention for people. And I can kind of understand what they're talking about. William Lawrence. But I've seen maybe like 3 movies in my life that are better than this one. Maybe 5 stars.
He's definitely only seen 4 movies. He's one of those guys like do you know the famous English footballer Michael Owen? I
do. Well, not
There's
personally.
random factoid about him, and it's always something that stuck with me. He came out in public during some interview or something saying he's only ever seen 3 movies in his life. He like hates them. He's like, I absolutely hate movies. And he said he only seen 3 movies in his life. I can't remember what the other 2 were, but one of them was Cool Runnings.
Is that the one that put him off movies? Very good.
I don't know. He's like, come on, I got absolutely all right. Okay, here's the story. It says he's only watched 8 films ever. It's a main story on BBC News in 2014. I don't even know why I'm telling you.
It's quite weird.
But here we go.
People haven't seen that many films. That's crazy.
The films. This is on his tweet. He wrote, "Films I've been forced to watch." What kind of relationship is he in? You've seen Rocky, Heat, Ghost, Jurassic Park, Cool Runnings, Seabiscuit, Karate Kid, and Forrest Gump.
They're all pretty good. I mean, he's just seen them and go, this isn't for me.
He is. I mean, I don't know if you've ever like witness him speaking for more than 30 seconds, he's notoriously a boring bastard.
Oh, okay. Here you go. So the last review here on Letterboxd, Rio Coca put this is why I no longer. Oh, okay. This is why I no longer have the pleasure of listening to Adam and Joe. This half a star. So I actually understand that pain.
Yeah.
Joe Cornish is was one half of the podcast, Adam and Joe, which was the Adam and Joe show. I mean, it was a Channel 4. So I've got stakes in this film. I think a lot of people feel the same way, and they do in the career of Adam Buxton and Joe Cornish. We used to watch them on Channel 4 on the Adam and Joe show, where they were just kind of a couple of early 20s men who kind of just kind of messed around and made little films with toys. And then they had this podcast, went on for a long time. It's one of the best podcasts of all time. It's like so funny. Was a podcast before even podcasts were really a thing. And then all of a sudden it ended after so long.
Was it a radio show that got made into a podcast? I guess what a lot of them were, wasn't it?
Yeah, back in the day, Ricky Gervais show, Adam and Joe, the Russell Brand show, which was great. That was great.
Oh man, I remember I used to like download it onto my iPod, like for bus journeys and stuff, and like miss buses because now I got to download it, got to get it onto my iPad.
Matt Morgan and
yeah, I think I witnessed the downfall of that. Like before it all kicked off, I think I listened to it, laughed,
I remember,
laughed, and then literally 2 days later, shit hit the fan. So yeah,
this is the old school days of podcasting. So when again Russell Brand, like when his podcast was out around the same time, he wasn't a big name. Like we kind of saw his rise to stardom we got like a glimpse into it through the podcast. Adam and Joe were kind of similar, but it always felt like they were never going to go big or mainstream. Like it always felt like there was something kind of holding them back. And Joe kind of disappeared from the podcast for a while. And we always knew he was doing film stuff. It turned out he was writing Tintin with Edgar Wright. He was writing Ant-Man, the script for Ant-Man. And then he was also making this film. And the fact that this film it came out really well, and it's a really great film. It's kind of amazing. Like it makes you feel really good. And Adam has done similarly well as well. Like if you in a different way, Adam, if you watch his when he hosted Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and he kind of absolutely stormed it. It felt you get weirdly proud of them. It's like, yeah, my boys are doing good. It's a weird feeling. It's a really weird feeling, but it's lovely. But yeah, this guy doesn't like that. He says he prefer more Adam and Joe podcast.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll go back to it. Let your favorites fly the nest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's the Adam Buxton podcast is still going. He has Joe on there like every few months.
Yeah, what more do you want? That's kind of the same. Come on. Yeah. God, it's crazy to think that this film's 10 years ago as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who we got in terms of cast? So the main cast is built up around John Boyega, who plays Moses. Described here as like a low-level crook teenage gang leader. But I mean, it's a teenage gang.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they're all like kind of wannabes in a way, wanting respect from other people who live in the block, like criminals and stuff. And when you say before about like their gang of youths that rob Jodie Whittaker's character Samantha at knife point, like it is bad, and there aren't many redeeming. I mean, obviously we understand the characters as we get to know them. We understand that they're just kids, but everyone still kind of like dismisses her as being a snitch, or like that no one really ever apologizes.
There's a
directly.
bit of an apology at the end, but it's even like then it never actually says sorry.
Then, like that's because they're bloody aliens invading London. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if that didn't happen, none of them would have. So it is difficult to get on the side of these people. I feel like it would have been better if some of the characters were maybe just had a bit more empathy to them. And
this is have you ever heard of the Save the Cat? So it's a big screenwriting book, and the idea is that if you ever want to elicit empathy in your characters, you have to have them save a cat. Like they have to do something, And these guys don't ever do that. Like they don't
As it,
ever have that.
well, there's a dog, and a dog gets got like
Exactly.
pretty much immediately.
The opposite.
That felt
Kill
like
the
a
dog.
waste.
That's a
Yeah,
different. I don't think that one got published.
that felt like such a waste, didn't it? Like it, no, that didn't get published. No, that was supposed to be the follow up. But because we know John Boyega and we know him from Star Wars and we know him from all the other big movies he's in now as a major global superstar, like seeing him in this film, you do kind of root for him because you know him. But I feel like when this film would have come out, it would have been hard to really, really root for these characters.
Yeah.
But then again, I kind of felt the same way about everybody, I guess. Like Jodie Whittaker, she was kind of, I mean, she was kind of just there for a while. And then even like the other characters like Nick Frost, I feel like it probably didn't give him as much to do. So Nick Frost plays Ron, a local drug dealer. But the cast of the sort of gang members are John Boyega. I say gang members, but it's just teenage kids, really, isn't it? Going around causing a load of mischief. Obviously, there are some dark elements into it, which I think may try to make you understand the lives that these people have been living. Is that there's like obviously a gangster / drug dealer who's trying to get these boys on side to sort of run around his product, and then also we understand that everyone's kind of got different family situations going on as well. Moses, he lives with his uncle, but his uncle's never there. I think someone else called Pest like lives with his elderly nan. There's a couple of them who are a bit more like their mums are like, right, get home by 10 o'clock.
Yeah. If it did you feel like if they were in any other situation, if they were born anywhere else, they would have been quite nice kids. I think when Nick Frost says they're quite sweet, really, aren't they? I think that you get a sense that they are, but it's just that initial mugging bit. It's just hard to swallow, especially when there's a knife involved.
Yeah,
and it's a lone woman walking alone. No, I don't know. Something does rub you the wrong way with that.
One of the characters says we were just as scared as you, but I never ever felt like that was correct. I never felt, if we would have seen a shaking hand or, we would have seen some genuine regret or empathy from any of the characters. It kind of just did annoy me as the threat escalated. The characters were still quick to kind of dismiss Jodie Whittaker as a snitch and stuff. And that was what, I mean, I was frustrated in a way because I kind of wanted to, there's like camaraderie between these guys. And also it feels like Jodie's character and the posh pothead dude, what was his name?
The guy from who literally saves the cat in that film.
Yeah.
Where he's like a busker with a cat.
Yeah, that dude. That's what you meant. Yeah, exactly. I felt like they, even though they were initially like quite wary of these kids, it felt like they were part of the gang by the time as they were all sort of fighting their way through it. But I never quite felt in there with it. I was still felt like a bit of an outsider as the viewer, where I was a bit like, not entirely convinced.
Yeah. I mean, so the little gang, there's Alex S. Smale, who plays Pest. I thought he was a standout little character, actually. But I'm surprised he's not been in bigger stuff. I don't really
Still a little bastard, though, isn't he?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Franz Dramer is Dennis, a hot-headed pizza delivery boy. I can't remember which one he... Oh, is he... You gotta get his head off.
No, he was the one. Yeah, the kind of like a mohawk. And I think head gets popped off.
Yeah, Jerome is one you're thinking of. Leon James. So a lot of these people, I actually thought they were really great actors. They're full of character. I'm surprised they're not bigger than the. Well, I've not. Maybe they are. Maybe they're doing stuff I just don't see. Simon Howard as Biggs, the youngest member. Which is he the one with the afro? Yeah. Okay, he's the afro one.
Yeah. That's the one. So he's the one who ends up in the skip, isn't he?
Yeah. Nick Frost obviously in it. Mates with Joe Cornish, I imagine. So, because I think I imagine Joe Cornish might have had some trouble getting this finance. It's his first directorial gig. He's writing and directing, but he knows Edgar Wright, which means he probably has some sway.
Always handy.
Jermaine Hunter's hi-hats. Oh, he was like the big gang leader, local drug dealer leader guy.
Yeah. That's it. So it's obviously like an ensemble cast, and I mean, it seems very believable in terms of the the ideas it brings to the forefront in terms of like inner city London.
Yeah.
And the difficulties, I guess, of growing up somewhere like that, especially like a block where drugs and obviously there's a particular thing that John Boyega says when talking about the police, where he says first they put drugs on the block, then they brought guns, and now aliens.
Yeah.
To try and kill us. So yeah, like there's a lot of real world parallels that obviously are relevant then and are still relevant today that I think it captures well. For me, I think it was just the nature of the characters that kind of meant that those messages were perhaps a bit lost in the mix when they could have been like really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it starts on Guy Fawkes Night. You know this. How? Because there's fireworks going off everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Jodie Whittaker is walking home from, I think she's a student nurse or something along those lines. And then she gets.
As someone who used to live in London, Luke, did this feel like London to you? Did it look and sound and smell like London?
It's weird because when we moved to London, everyone was like, "Oh, you got to be careful," and like even people I knew from London said, you got to get mugged at some point, so just prepare for it." It never happened. I always felt quite safe. And then Kat's mum and dad kept saying, "Move to Manchester. Come here. It's safer up here." The very first moment we got off the bus, we saw a man get mugged across the street in Manchester. We got home, and as we drove to their mum and dad's, they said, "Yeah, that's the place where that police lady got grenaded the other week." That actually happened. I don't know
where laughing, but someone getting grenaded is pretty.
Yeah. And then there were like holes, and we got to their house. There were holes in the door. I'm like, "What's that?" And he said, "Yeah, crazy guy with an axe started attacking the door." This sounds like I'm making it up.
And you were like, "Get me back to London."
Apparently, he's been going up the street with like an axe, just like attacking doors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like absolute bullshit. Yeah,
I remember my
grenaded an axe in the door, but what happened?
They said about the crazy guy with the axe. My friend told me a story the other day. He was like, one day his boss didn't turn up for work, and a couple of hours later, like rang him and said like, "Oh, are you not coming in today?" And he was like, "Oh no, sorry, I've been talking to the police all day. I was riding my bike this morning, and there was a man on a like public footpath, wanking and trying to stab people." He's trying to do a stab wank at people. So
which is the bit he's getting arrested for. We'll go for the
what are you arresting me for? Well, the stab wanking. Yeah, but which one? Well, both. Well, gotta be one or the other, mate. Yeah. So there are some crazy people out there, and obviously it's not just dangerous in London, because even here in Bristol, full of twats. Not full of twats, but I think there's twats everywhere, aren't there? Wherever you go, there's going to be a twat. And sometimes you'll gravitate towards them, and other times you'll be fine.
Make eye contact. The thing is, though, like sometimes a twat will be looking at you, and as soon as you like just looking around, as soon as you catch eyes with them, they'll go, "What are you looking at?" And that's it. They've tractor beamed you in then.
Oh, see, I feel like I'm not confrontational, but I don't know. I would definitely say the wrong thing. Like I wouldn't just be able to go, "Nothing, mate." I think I had to go, "You fucking you can." Like what's his name? Paddy Considine in Dead Man's Shoes.
That's scary.
What are you looking at? You can. Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. See this?
I get me again. Yeah.
You. That's not me.
You right here. That's not me. Oh no. Big crash. So trainee nurse Samantha Adams. She's walking home. She's on the phone to her mum, I think. She's saying like, "Oh, come see you soon, mum." And then she's kind of like, the pincer movement happens from this gang of youths. So a few of them go behind her. And I mean, this is the thing. Even if I believed that these guys were little bastards, well, a woman on her own, do you know what I mean? I mean, that I feel like if they were mugging anybody else, we could kind of maybe move past it in the story. But the fact that they're mugging a woman on her own and they push her over as well is a bit like, oh, come on, guys. Come on, you twats.
It's kind of how they downplay it as well throughout the film as not being a big deal. as well. That's a little bit tough to swallow.
Yeah. So yeah, they try to mug her, and she obviously she puts up a bit of a fight, ends up on her bum. I think they steal her phone, maybe something else, but then quickly interrupted is like a meteorite falls from the sky, smashes into a car. Samantha just runs away, doesn't she?
I forgot to say, it opens like the thing, like we're in space.
Oh yeah, of course.
And we've got like the meteor, almost exactly like the opening of the thing, and it's got the music even sounds similar at that point. It's got that. Dun, dun.
I did like the music in this. It's pretty cool.
The music was good. Most at times, I was like, it sounds like a Doctor Who episode. It feels like a Doctor Who episode, but with like blood and guts, with like heads popping off and stuff.
So apparently, the soundtrack for the film was an original score composed by Basement Jaxx and Stephen Price. So like, there's a sort of like electronic dub sort of sound, like the sort of grimy sounding percussion. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So the alien, the first alien lands in that car, and they kind of chase it. So just after they've mugged this woman, they chase a little alien, ET, for all they know. For all they could be like a cute little gizmo.
All right.
And they chase it.
We're gonna fuck him up.
Gizmo lands. I mean, it doesn't look that bad. This one. It's kind of got grey hair. Could be cuddly in the right light when it's not been stabbed up. They follow it into like a little trailer thing, and they like straight up murder it. That's sound like
it jumped on Moses first, and it scratched him.
Oh, well, it was scared.
So it's like a little grey, wrinkly
ball bag,
ape ball bag, like ape wolf, weird thing, isn't it? But the thing is, it's quite small. So obviously, when we're introduced to the other aliens, they're much bigger. But then we understand that this one is a female, which is kind of weird.
They mug a female human, and then they
kill
female
alien bastards.
Not looking good, lads.
But yeah, after they kill it, they just like drag it around behind them, and they kind of seem to think that
they're like celebrating and stuff.
Yeah, somehow they're gonna get, I don't know, like a.
There's a lot. There's loads of good lines. They say they're going to sell it on eBay for bear peng or bear. I didn't understand a lot what they were saying, to be honest. There was a lot of words being thrown around. I was like, is that English?
You lived in London.
Yeah, but I didn't pick up the lingo, obviously. Bear. I think they said sell it on eBay for bear peng pan. That sounds about right.
Yeah, pretty much. They'll get a lot for it. They'll get a nice little earner. I mean, I'm all right for Cockney slang, bunts, but maybe the old street slang is a bit beyond me. You know,
they say funny things like someone will say, I think, am I allowed to do this thing? And then the other person won't say yes, of course. They'll say, allow it.
Allow it, yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
you allow it. You're my dad.
Allow it. And when she runs away, they say she's running away, and he goes, allow it.
All right.
Let it happen. Let it be.
Let it be.
So yeah, so they take the alien up to, they've got a cannabis dealer dude called Ron, played by Nick Frost. So they take it to him because they say he loves all the National Geographic stuff. He's gonna know exactly what it is, but Ron ain't got a bloody clue.
Yeah, he says like, you found, it's a very Nick Frost thing. He says you found something that can't be described as something. It sounds really good what he says, and you kicked his fucking head in, and they're all like, yay!
You found you found something that never been discovered before, and you kicked his fucking head in. And they go, yeah, we fucking did.
Yeah,
eat shit.
Well, they want to store it in the weed room. They're growing, like they've got like a whole hydroponic ultraviolet set up in the back room. Must be dead secure, and they're going to hide it in there, but they have to get permission from Hi-Hats, who's like the gang lord.
Just a really good drummer as well, do you reckon?
Yeah, only on the hi-hat.
He's basically like the gang the like leader, or like Ron's boss essentially. But I kind of didn't get that vibe from him initially. I thought like they were just a pair of guys tending to the weed, and they weren't big deals at all. But then as soon as Hi Hats tries to like bring John Boyega into the fold and get him to move what I think is cocaine, or is it heroin? He just calls it white
Yeah,
actually, so it's going to be.
yeah,
He asked him to, so obviously moving on to class A's, and he gets him to store. He puts in his sock, doesn't he, John Boyega, and
yeah,
I mean, he doesn't seem to have much choice in the matter. It's not like he's Dave gone. Do you want to do so? Do you want to run some drugs around the block for me? And he's just gone. Yeah, he's literally gone.
yeah,
Here you go. See you later. It's like, well, where do I go? Who do I meet? Who's this for? give me an address at least. No,
yeah,
that's not how it works. So yeah, and just as that's sort of happening, and that's been made to as an agreement, they look out and more objects are falling from the sky, like all over the place, all over the estate or like area of London, and they realize, and one lands right nearby, like in the park.
yeah. And they get all dead excited because they're like, "We killed this one. Let's tool up and kill a load more."
Yeah, I mean,
They're like,
to be fair, a free reign on killing some stuff, especially when you think it's just like a little grey wrinkly ball bag like the other one.
I mean, I would. I mean, I guess it did scratch Moses' face, but I would be. I mean, if you just see some animal, you'd be like, "Yeah, let's kick its fucking head in." Again, like there is
I
a whole
think
thing with like young kids being that way though, and that I found really distasteful as well.
Well, I guess they do sort of say it's an alien. They do sort of think it's an alien at this point, don't they? They
It's that
do.
violence first mentality that's quite
Oh,
difficult.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't know,
guess so. Kill or be killed scenario.
but they're loving it. They're like, this is going to be fun activity. This is going to be a fun game for all of us children to play for bonding time.
So they all like run down the stairs, and then they all run into their respective flats to basically grab things. One of them grabs a machete. One of them grabs a load of fireworks. Yeah, so we're kind of like briefly introduced to their living situation, and siblings and parents.
Yeah,
And there is like a love interest for Moses as well, isn't there? There's a girl. There's a few like young girls as well. They end up in their flat at one point. I'm not sure
yeah. Looking in Mia or something.
when that happens. Yeah, so they get themselves down to the park to fuck up the aliens, and they take a dog with them. And initially, I'm thinking, oh great, we're going to see like a dog helping and being the hero and attacking aliens and stuff. But a dog gets killed off like, immediately.
Yeah,
Not fair. Not fair. I wanted him to have more screen time, more
yeah.
lines.
I think also kind of it just indicates that this is a different thing they're fighting now to the little grey ball bag. This one is like they're like looking. It's actually quite a scary scene. They're like looking at it, trying to look across the park, and we can't see anything. It's just so black, and then we see the blue teeth just sort of appearing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they get very far with this one. I think it just chased them or something. I can't remember.
Chases them off, yeah. So I think we do see it at the moment, but obviously it's just a big black mess of like limbs and stuff. Like it's super. I think they do say like gorilla wolf quite often, which kind of makes sense. And
It's quite an interesting design, I will say. Quite a unique design
because it's like super black, isn't it? Like the blackest black, they say, like obsidian.
Well,
Put their hands up against it at one point, and just.
I remember reading Joe Cornish wasn't happy with the way the costumes looked. They were supposed to be super black, but they weren't black enough, so he had to get loads of VFX done to make it. I mean, it's just like absorbs light. It's so dark, it's like inky black.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. I really like the creatures.
Yeah, 100%.
So then they're chased around for a bit, I think.
So they flee, and then not long after that, as they're sort of riding around, so they're riding around on like the moped. One of them's got a moped because you could use it to deliver pizzas. I think one of them's on a bike. But the thing we didn't mention is that Samantha, since fleeing, has sort of gone to the police and sort of explained what happened, and they've decided to just take her around the estate to basically look for the muggers and identify them. I'm not sure if she does it or I think they just stumble across them. I think the police van just stumbles across the kids running, and they try to flee, but it's Moses who ends up falling off of his bike. I think falls off his bike, and then the police come and arrest him, put him in handcuffs. But the aliens are pretty close behind, stalking them. And just as they put Moses in the police van, 2 officers get murked. Which is another word that's used a few times in this film, which I haven't heard for a few years. Murked.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And absolutely murked. There we go. So that happens, and then it all pretty much kicks off. The rest of the gang are sort of like coming to try and save Moses. Samantha is in the van as well, and there's a moment where they look at each other, they're face to face for the first time. Moses looks like he's trying his best to be intimidating, which is unfortunate. And sort of they come and chase. Oh, that's it. They fire a big old bangy firework underneath the police van to scare off the aliens, don't they?
They've got a lot of fireworks, these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how effective the fireworks are. They use them all the time.
Yeah.
I think they look really cool, I will say. But what is it actually scaring them off? Because there's a few times later on where they shoot fireworks down hallways and stuff, and it just seems to make it more difficult for them to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think it like disorientates them a bit, possibly.
I don't know.
I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they pretty much, the keys have been left, I think, by the police as well. So they like take the van, drive away, but then obviously they crash
into Hi-Hat's really expensive car. Yeah.
Crash into Hi-Hat's Merc. And they tried, and initially Hi-Hats tries to back away, thinking he's crashed into the police, into the feds. But initially he goes, hang on a minute, there's not police driving that van, and it's Moses and his gang, and there's like a big confrontation. And obviously they're trying to give it the big, it's aliens are chasing us. But Hi-Hats doesn't look like the kind of guy. He's not Tom DeLonge, who is obviously really open and go, what, aliens?
Oh Tom
my
DeLonge
God.
Was the drug dealer in that London council.
Yeah. My whole career now is going to be about finding out about these aliens and stuff. Hi-Hats is immediately, no, I'm not believing that, unfortunately. I'm going to fuck you up. But then one of his like right-hand men, well, his only right-hand man, what's his name? Don't remember his name, but one of his henchmen dudes gets killed by the alien, and his throat gets ripped out in front of him.
Yeah. When you get attacked by one of these things, it's quite a violent. It's like being like thrashed by a bear or something. They just seem to thrash you about, and they take chunks out of you with their giant jaws. Doesn't look pleasant. Lots of screaming, things getting ripped off.
Yeah, it doesn't look pleasant at all. It looks very painful.
Yeah.
Big gorilla wolves. I guess like because they were sort of so strange looking, I did sort of understand the threat of them. But at the same time, I suppose they did kill a few, didn't they? In these initial stages. I was going to say they didn't kill them till the end, but I suppose they did kill a few.
Moses hits one in the head with the samurai sword at one point.
Oh yeah, of course. So they flee. The aliens are chasing after them. They all kind of get separated at this point. I think Biggs ends up hiding in like a bin, in like a big bin. And then Pest, the little dude with his little hat with the tassels, he gets like bitten on the leg when one of them like smashes his head through the door. And then somehow, I can't remember exactly how, but they managed to find Samantha, because Samantha says she lives in their building, and they managed to find her house.
She's in the lift, I think, right? And then they all get in the lift with her. Is that, maybe I'm making that up?
I can't remember. There's a lot of lift action, isn't there? When we're introduced to Brewis, the posh stoner dude, I think he's trying to get in the lift, and he says they just push past him, don't they? This is earlier, obviously.
Yeah.
Just push past him. He's like, "Oh, I'll get the next one." He's like, "Yeah, probably for the best." But yeah, they basically go to Samantha's flat and persuade her to. I don't think that's what they go there for originally, but then they find out she's a nurse and they try and persuade her to treat Pest's leg. And here's where, like, I guess the group are sort of inviting her into the fold a bit. They sort of all exchange names. I don't think Moses is still keen on that. I think he's like, oh, we're not doing that, are we? He's still. But I think he tries to keep up this facade, doesn't he? This sort of like really macho facade in order for the rest of the gang to like look up to him. And he pretty much keeps it going. And it never really does drop, I guess, until he makes like a bit of a apology.
He looks a bit stupid when he tries to attack someone with a samurai sword again.
Oh yeah, when
he goes into the wall. Yeah,
stabs into the wall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's like saying if you don't take your leg to the hospital,
just your leg. Take your leg to the hospital. Come home.
It's gonna
just relax. Your leg will be fine. It'll come back to you.
Kick your feet. Well, I just can't kick your feet up.
Kick your foot up.
She's like, you need to go to the hospital because you're gonna get like infections and stuff. I can't remember how it all transpires. I think what it is she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, but then they get attacked in the flat, and that's when Moses goes to use his sword technique again, and he goes into the wall, and then she saves him. And then at that point, they're like, "We need to move because there's like all these aliens coming," and that's when they go, "We're gonna go to Ron's lockup."
Back to Ron's. Ron's got all the answers. Yeah,
because it's really secure there as well. No, actually, no. Big fun. They're gonna go to the girlfriend's house because she's got a gate. She's got like a steel gate on the door.
That's right. Yeah. So there's a flat owned by Tia, Dimples, Diona, and Gloria. The Ultimate Four. Basically, they're just like a girl group. There's obviously one called Dimples because you got to have one called Dimples. She's a comedy act. Don't even know which one Dimples is.
Yeah.
So the aliens like pretty much have followed them, haven't they? And attack. They get in pretty easily, don't they? Smashing windows and
yeah.
And then so this was so Dennis gets killed when he's got his bike helmet on. This was pretty horrible because I thought it was just killing him, and then suddenly it popped his head off like a.
Yeah, I it's weird because if it wasn't the violence in this film, it's kind of surprising in a way. Like in some ways, when you're watching it, it feels like it's almost too violent. And like I think it just adds to it. But like seeing the kids like scream because it feels like they're just kind of playing like action heroes up to this point. They've all got like the toys, and even at that point, he's got a toy gun that he thinks is a real gun. It's like a cap gun. And he starts shooting at them, and he's like realizes that he's messed up. And then the thing jumps on him, and he's like screaming his head off, and then the blood starts to spit, and his head flies across the room. It's like it feels really violent, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it is a little bit shocking in a way.
The violence is shocking, but there's not. I don't think there's that much of it really. Is there? There's only like a few. There's like a handful.
Yeah,
moments.
I think it's just because you know what it is. I think the kids feel quite genuinely young, like they feel quite immature, and seeing them get brutally like moided is quite effective because they even though they're not innocent, they do still feel a little bit innocent. Or maybe that's because I don't know. Maybe I want them to be innocent because I don't want to think of them as these sort of violent men, because that's the world. That's what they're trying to pretend to be. These sort of violent men who have situation completely handled by themselves. Yeah, they're not. They're actually just kids who are kind of very silly. So they're getting treated as such, as violent men. They're being murdered, like in a really horrendous ways. It's interesting, and maybe there's something more there. Maybe that's what Joe Cornish was going for. Like, if you act like that, then you are going to get treated as such.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because they're definitely young. Because I think John Boyega's character Moses says he's 15 at one point, doesn't he? And Jodie Whittaker says, "You
seem older.
You look older."
It's a bit weird because I think that's in a way of her saying You know, I thought you were quite attractive.
yeah. There was there was definitely a moment, and I sort of felt it from her side rather than him.
Yeah,
in terms of that attraction.
And then she saw
so
his like Spider-Man bed covers. Yeah, like one of those race car beds.
And she saw his Spider-Man pants and went, "Oh God, how old are you? 15."
And he's got Spider-Man webbing stuff everywhere.
Jesus, bloody hell! This door handle's sticky. But, so John Boyega
cosplaying as Spider-Man again. Jesus.
stick yourself on the ceiling. So he's 29. So obviously, so 10 years he was 19. 19 playing a 15-year-old. I mean,
Okay.
that's
you seem older. That's because
I seemed older.
Yeah.
That's because I am. I'm 19. Cut. John, we've told you already. You're playing a 15-year-old. Yeah, but she said I was 15 and I'm not a 19. You need to get over it. It's like when you try and get a kid on a bus. It definitely happened with Megan. I think it's happened with my nephew as well. When I get on the bus, it's like, right, if anyone asks you how old you are, you say 5 because 6 I got to pay for a ticket. All right, okay. And how old's the little boy? Oh, he's 5. No, I'm 6. There you go. That's not me hitting him. That's me slapping my hand.
You act like a man. You treat like a man.
That's me hitting my hand in annoyance. That's not me hitting the kid across the head.
That's a really good sound there. Do that sound again. What? That sounds like a cowboy punching a guy off a roof. Do it again.
I've got a history of. I'm really good at Foley art. Is that what it's called? Foley when you
just using your own body.
Yeah, I could do it. No, I can't do that. Can't do an arm fart. It's been a lot. Oh my god, it's been a long time since I tried to do that.
An arm fart. Do it in your elbow. Oh, no.
I did go for a run. I did go for a run earlier, and I haven't showered, so it's probably a little bit moist under there.
Grease that.
Greased right up. It's a greasy
can't get over that punch sound effect. Like you could. What is that? That's not real. Someone's going to watch this video and think that like you've overlaid that sound over the.
It's because it might be because I'm doing it like literally right next to the mic. I don't know.
Do it one more time.
This podcast is just going to descend into.
I know, but it's unreal.
Tell your story walking.
What? That's amazing. That is amazing.
You do one. I want to hear it.
It just went. I don't even know how you're doing that. Oh, well,
it's different. It sounded good as well. No, it sounded good as well. It must just be like. It must be that microphones. They're just that good. They're that good. Okay, if there's any Wild West movies out there, right, that haven't got a Foley artist on the books just yet. We're around.
Do you want a speedboat? Give you a little speedboat there. If you need a machine gun.
I mean, was that you then, or was that a machine gun speedboat chase? Because I mean, is there a machine gun speedboat chase happening outside your house? Because that was.
Oh, if you want a tiny angry man on the phone. Sorry, I'm not taking calls right now.
It's like from Grand Theft Auto. Click. Couldn't even be bothered to do a little click. Really good at some and notoriously bad at others.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Anyway,
club. That's a horse. Right. What's happened? So Hi-Hats is having a bit of he's having some stuff happening as well. So he's basically pissed off because his car got fucked up, and also so did the other guy. He goes and gets like 2 other gang members to drive him somewhere, and basically he's walking around with a gun, angry, looking for the gang, the gang of youths. But he also has complete denial that any aliens exist at all. He's not having it. He's absolutely not having it. So he does manage to get up to the flat, and he basically just says, "I'm gonna fuck you all up," and they attack. But the aliens like leap through. Well, no, actually, initially there's a moment where the aliens attack. Everyone ends up in a lift. They chased him into the lift, and somehow Hi-Hats like makes it out alive, like I guess by shooting the aliens.
Yeah.
So surely So surely right now he must believe that they exist because he just killed a load of them. So the gang managed to go up to the weed room now. They use the fireworks like as a distraction, don't they? So this is like the lobby sequence from the Matrix. It reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah.
All the smoke and mirrors trying to get through, but obviously Jerome, that's to do with the glasses, gets proper disorientated, like annoyingly so. Where like I'll be like, really? Surely it's A to B. It's pretty easy. But he gets proper disorientated where he's like, has no idea where he is. Everyone's voices are echoing. That's probably not helping. Just speak normally. Jerome. I don't know where you are. And we obviously think this might be a moment where, he gets saved or something, but no, he gets killed as well.
And he was like maybe the nicest one. Yeah. He had glasses, so
we're gonna rank people in terms of niceness for how big their glasses are. Do they have glasses on? Yeah, he did.
Tough.
Oh, he's all right then.
I bet he's smart.
I bet he's smart. Are you smart? Yeah, I'm pretty smart.
So yeah, he gets attacked, dragged up into the smoke.
Yeah, he gets a big chunk of his face like torn out, and I think
Pest goes to get him, doesn't he? I think
Pest like tries to save him. Yes, obviously. This is the thing. I think if I like these characters enough, like their deaths would have more impact for me. And I kind of like when their deaths happen, I kind of feel sorry for their friends in a way, where I'm like, oh, they've just seen their friend murdered in front of them. How terrible. But yeah, in terms of like the grand scheme of things, I'm not really rooting for anybody. It feels like. Especially even like when Hi-Hats is like pursuing them as well. I suppose he's quite easy to hate, but
yeah.
Apart from that, so Hi-Hats does manage to follow them up to. We never really see how he manages to avoid the aliens, like at ground level, do we?
Yeah, he's got his pistol, though, hasn't he? I guess he's shooting stuff up.
He's got his gun.
Actually, they're maybe not even after him, because it turns out like later on, Jodie can just walk right through him.
So yeah, they go to Ron's flat, but Hi-Hats is already there. That's right. Ron's let him in. Ron's obviously apologetic, but Hi-Hats basically wants to kill Moses. But all of the aliens are just outside the window.
Yeah,
ready to jump in and fuck him up, which they do. They all descend on him, and there's obviously quite a gruesome shot, which is like as it's panning around him as he's getting surrounded by them, and they just kind of like rip his face off.
Yeah.
Which is
I like that shot. Nice and gruesome.
Yeah, nice and gruesome. So they all hide inside the weed room. And here is where they start doing some digging, doing a bit of espionage, working out exactly how and why the aliens are actually after them and how they keep finding them. Like they're in a flat, like they're going to different floors, different flats. And it's because of the UV light in the weed room. Brewis notices that Moses is covered.
Spider-Man's been at it again
in spaff. He's covered in spaff, and Brewis is like, "Oh no, you got to put all of your garments underneath a UV light before you give them to your mum to wash, because otherwise, humiliating for everybody involved." So obviously, Brewis does a. What is this? This is just
Well, he studies
That's right. Yeah,
anthropology, I think.
Yeah,
one of them. And he knows all about pheromones.
He loves a good pheromone, and he's got a lot of information, which is good. But also explains a lot, I guess, about the plot. I guess some things that could have been like plot holes, like how the hell did they find them? But yeah, so I think they try and work out. So he's got a theory. So he says that like the aliens are like spores. They're drifting through space on solar winds until they find a habitable planet. And after they land in the area, the female lands first, and she lets off. Oh, you dirty bitch! She lets off a strong pheromone to attract the male creatures so they can mate and propagate their species on that planet. So that's essentially what they think has happened. So everyone cleans himself off of the spaff under the UV light to make sure that they no longer want the aliens, but they then pretty much hatch a plan, which is where Moses wears the dead female that they killed at the start as a backpack.
Yeah.
As a wobbly backpack.
Kind of like an ET kind of situation. Yeah. Like
dead ET.
Escaping whilst carrying a little alien.
Yeah, but the alien's dead and not wrapped up and put in a little basket of a
Yeah.
bike. So I guess their plan is pretty good, which is that essentially armed with a samurai sword, or is it 2 samurai swords? Moses is going to basically go to his flat. Well, Samantha goes ahead and sort of does all the dirty work for him. Goes to the flat, turns the gas oven on, and he's going to lead them all there and blow them all up. I think at this moment as well is when Moses decides to finally have an apology of some sort, and he gives back Samantha's stolen ring, which we didn't mention earlier. But yeah,
They didn't even want to give it back. Pest was like,
"Oh yeah, of course."
He didn't even want to give it back. Yeah, that's how is it?
After everything you've been through,
yeah,
life and death, she's patched you up after your leg was done. You still think her, like, I guess not wedding ring, like engagement ring or whatever, is yours.
Yeah.
I'd slap him across the crust.
Yeah.
I'd tousle his hair just to get close to him, make him feel like I was his mate, and then slap him across the head. You little bastard.
Yeah. So it all goes to plan. They do it all in slow motion. They shoot off a couple of fireworks. Moses runs through. He's been chased by like 10 aliens, quite a few, big handful of them. He makes it into the flat, and at this point the police are all outside as well. All the people are gathering. There's 2 other characters as well. There's Probs and Mayhem, I think they're called.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there's 2 little proper young kids, like what, 8 or something.
Yeah.
Who obviously kind of look up to the gang, I guess, in a way where they're like, we're gonna go around doing a load of mad shit as well, and then hopefully we could be in your gang one day. And obviously they're like little kids, so they tried to save Biggs by like spraying one of the aliens with like a super soaker full of petrol, right? And then lighting him on fire.
Light him up, yeah.
But then there's like armed police, so they run and jump and hide in the bin as well, hide in the skip. Yeah, I just like, come on, kids, get yourselves home. I'm worried for your safety. 8 years old.
Yeah. Well, earlier, I think Moses does say that. Go home and read.
Go home.
Do your homework.
Read books. Go home. Have a bath and a bed.
Bath and bedtime.
Watch CBBS bedtime. Sometimes they have Tom Hardy on there. You know.
Did they?
They have big names on there. Go and watch that. Get yourself home. Don't hang about with us. But it's a pretty good alien killing record there. They've killed one. Those 2 little kids.
Yeah.
So then that pretty much happens. Moses manages to get all the aliens into his flat and then ignites the room using his fireworks. There's a moment, obviously, we can't quite light it, that little bit of tension. But he does, and he leaps out the window. And what's he hanging from? He's hanging from like a Union Jack, isn't he?
Yeah. And the police
Brexit! That's what he shouts. He just shouts that as loud as possible. Oh God.
Police see him and they're like, arrest that guy who's hanging off there.
Yeah, he's just done an explosion. I mean, this is annoying because obviously all of the it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because obviously the police just arresting people and without asking questions and kind of just making assumptions is a kind of a good not a good narrative, but like a realistic narrative, I guess. But at the same time, they're not completely innocent. So But yeah. He is the hero. All the aliens are essentially dead. The block's like in flames.
Everyone's chanting Moses' name.
Yeah, that's right. So everyone's chanting Moses' name, and I think Samantha goes to the police, and there's a bit of a moment where she says, "I'd like to explain what's happened," and they go, "Yeah, that's right. These boys have been doing all this stuff," and she always like goes silent for a second, like she's gonna just dob them in and go, "Yeah, there were no aliens at all. It was these little bastards stole my ring and then fucked up the old block."
Wow,
and they're doing drug deals up at the top.
Yeah.
In the penthouse suite.
I mean, it all kind of ends all right though, because Pest and Moses are in the back of a van, and outside they hear everyone chanting Moses' name. I mean, all their friends are dead. They've been arrested.
Yeah.
But
is there anything left for the aliens where they're going to be able to like confirm that it was definitely all aliens? There's a lot. I mean, there's quite a body count.
Yeah. And Moses smiles. He was like, I'm going to be in Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah, he's like, what's that? Star Wars next. This is gonna get me into Star Wars. So I'm assuming this
Yeah.
film played a part in getting him into Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think this is his first role, wasn't it? I think after this,
Hmm.
it was
And then he'll never go
Star
back
Wars.
because they
Yeah.
ruined his character. And in the Star Wars episode 9, they fucked him up. I always thought he was going to be like the main Jedi because you remember in the trailer he like ignited a blue lightsaber, and I was like, oh, he's a Jedi. What? And then in the trailer, he just ignited it, and in the film, he just ignited it for a laugh, and then Kylo Ren sliced him up the back.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the new movie. I liked the Force Awakens to some degree, but Rogue One, that's where it's at. Rogue One?
Rogue One's where it's at. Yeah, Rogue One.
Okay.
Rogue One. Oh, fuck's sake.
So I've got some name game for you.
Very nice.
So this other film I watched, it's about a teen gang in South London who defend their block from an alien invasion, who are all trying to get Moses's Kit Kat.
Attack the Chalk.
Attack the Chalk. Well done.
What? How do you eat the Kit Kat as well? Have you ever seen anyone eat the Kit Kat where they bite into all 4 fingers at the same time?
That's what I do.
That's a war crime.
Actually, I don't think I do that every time. You know what? I'm not bothered. Like whatever which way. If it's a finger a time, I'll do that.
Well, to be fair, almost every time I'll go for a Kit Kat chunky. Almost every time.
Yeah, it's better.
If there was a Kit Kat chunky and a 4 finger,
because there's no
Kit
weird
Kat.
rules about how you're supposed to eat it.
No, exactly. But you can nibble all the chocolates off at one end, and then
It's the only thing I do kind of a weird eating ritual with is sometimes I do it with a Twix if I've got a really hot cup of tea. You bite both ends off the Twix like it's a cigar, and then you use it as a straw in a tea, and it melts the caramel and it goes right up the Twix. It works really well.
Sound good. Which Twix do you prefer, left or right?
I think I prefer the right Twix.
Yeah, me too. Twick. Yeah.
Okay, so one I watched is about a German composer in South London who defends his block from an alien invasion, and they're all trying to get this composer.
Attack the only German I can only think of Hans Zimmer.
This is an older composer. This is like a classical composer. I think his first name is Sebastian.
Oh, Attack the Back.
Yeah.
Bach.
Attack
the Bach. I was like, Hans Zimmer. You know, and you've got all the good ones. You've got Bach, you've got Beethoven, you've got Zimmy Zimmer.
Another one I watched is about a teen gang in South London who defend their right to make funny little videos on the latest social media app from an alien invasion.
Attack the TikTok.
Well, I put a TikTok. Doesn't really make sense. But
that's far better.
But it sounds funny.
That's much better. Yeah.
So the one I watched is about a teen gang in South London who tried to lure a male chicken into a trap.
Attack the cock.
Close.
Attack the cockerel.
That bit was fine. It's the other bit.
Oh wait, attract the cock.
Attract the cock. I had that name first, and I was like, I could either go the chicken route or the other route. I'll go the chicken route. Here's a good one. So it's about Vince McMahon, and he's trying to find Dwayne Johnson to fire him. They're looking for Dwayne Johnson. He's got to fire him.
I mean, it's like something The Rock, but
yeah.
Attract the Rock, attack the Rock, find him. Why can't I think of a word for find?
Well, he's trying to fire him.
You're trying to fire him?
Yeah.
Sack the Rock.
I sacked the sock. Wait, I sacked the rock. I sacked the rock.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
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 Is that it?
Uh,
I kind of thought of one when you said one just then. So it's a film about a street gang. They're definitely all of age. They're definitely all adults. They're definitely all consenting, consenting adults,
consulting adults.
consenting adults.
Yeah.
And they try to defend themselves from predatory alien BDSM gang.
Attack the cock.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's literally all I had. Attack the cock. BDSM. Attack that cock. Leave it alone. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So we need to rate the film. I find this difficult because I do feel like this is a really good comfort film that you could just throw on and have fun with. Yeah, I do have some issues with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely rate it. And I think as a British film, it gets a lot right. And the fact that it's Joe Cornish as well kind of makes me like it more just because I like Joe Cornish. And I feel like if I publicly said I didn't like this film, I'd feel a bit bad. But I don't dislike it. I just think of the issues it has, the issues are it's hard in terms of like protagonists. They're like conflicted protagonists, aren't they? Where it's difficult to get on board with them and then understand their plight. But I think it's a cool little sci-fi jaunt. It's quite funny. Random bits of gore are quite interesting and cool. I feel like I've been rating films mostly the same lately. I feel like I've been watching films that are like, yeah, I like that. Got little to no problem with it, but
Yeah.
it hasn't blown me away. Hasn't changed my life. I kind of felt like that about the last few films we watched. So probably just gonna go for a B with this one because it's definitely a film that when it's on, I kind of want to watch it, and it's one of these films that pops up on like Film 4 every now and again, and when I see that it's playing, I'm like, oh yeah, watch that. Why the hell not? So yeah, I think I'll go for a B.
Cool. Similarly, I think it's a really fun movie and it's dead easy to watch. It's a bit of a comfort movie now. I've watched it a few times and I always enjoy it. But do have some issues. I'm going to give it a B plus.
Oh, gone for the old plus, have you?
Yeah, yeah.
The old plus. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, looking forward to a sequel. That'll be interesting to see what they do with a sequel.
Yeah.
Whether because obviously everyone's older, so whether Moses is now grown up and he's working in a bank, or
yeah, it will be interesting to see how they do it, how they frame it.
Yeah, especially if the alien invaders like have been gone for 10 years. Why are they back? Why are they crossing paths with? Maybe it's something to do with because they've still got the little body of the. Actually, they haven't got that got blown up as well, didn't it? The female little body.
Yeah.
It's got to be something to do. It's got something to do with the spaff. The spaff's still going to be there somewhere. A little microscopic dot of it is going to be on someone. We've all been there. We've all been there. There we go. Yeah. So what next week is a new month. So we're going to announce the July lineup. Sorry to do that ASAP. Yeah. But I think we're going to do another new release before we delve back into the past with the rest of the month. But there's a movie called Censor, which I don't know loads about, but I've heard some pretty good things about it and some hype surrounding it. Directed by Prano Bailey Bond, who is a Welsh director and screenwriter. So yeah, be interesting to see that. I don't know if you know much about that film at all. Do you know much?
Not really, no.
Same here. I was pretty much didn't know anything about it, and then I saw a bit of hype on Twitter, so I thought maybe we should cover it on the old podcast. But yeah, if you just follow Hawk and Cleaver socials, you'll see what the horror hangout lineup for June's going to be.
Cool. All right. I think we're all done. Is there anything else we needed?
That's it, mate, isn't it?
That's it. Another one in the bag.
There we go. Put a tick next to that.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Kalman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing in iTunes, and remember to hit subscribe. And go join the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors. Thanks to my co-host Ben for being a right horror dude who does an incredible punch noise.
That was real. That wasn't just a noise. That was real. I punched myself in the head just for the impact of that final moment.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke.
Cool. All right.
See you next time.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.